This virus must be much worse than we realize. Now, full disclaimer, I am not a doctor, I'm not a virologist. There's a lot of things I don't understand, and there's a lot of things that I do understand. And one thing that I understand is what I'm seeing from the media on the news and such. And it's nobody should be a stranger to the fact that we're undergoing a pandemic in the United States. And that's the word they use, pandemic. And also across the whole world. Now, this pandemic that we're going through, from what I understand, is significantly being slowed by the precautions taken by the President Trump and by local authorities. And I know here in California, for example, just under the past week, we've seen drastic measures taken, such as a shelter in place and things of that nature, where non-essential business activities in general, are allowed, and people basically are being told to stay home. Now, this is not like martial law or anything like that. It's not police enforced, right? But, Gavin Newsom is telling us that we need to stay home and do everything we can to stop the spread of this virus. And as we can see, a lot of people aren't obeying that order. But what we can see is that Gavin Newsom sent a letter to President Trump requesting aid. What he requested in the letter is that the ship, the USNS Mercy Hospital ship, be deployed to the Port of Los Angeles to help alleviate the current outbreak, to alleviate the healthcare system in that area. Now, this is the thing that I don't know if it concerns me, as in like I'm concerned learning this from Gavin Newsom, or if it confuses me. I don't understand, and maybe with a little more digging I can, but what I don't understand is that in this letter, Gavin Newsom says, we project that roughly 56% of our population, 25.5 million people, will be infected with the virus over an 8-week period. And there's other things in the letter, but that's what stands out to me. That he said, I'll say it again, we project that roughly 56% of our population, 25.5 million people, will be infected with the virus over an 8-week period. Now, here's what confuses me about this statement that Gavin Newsom made. And that is that worldwide, there have only been, it's terrible. Any case is terrible, and I don't, advocate, obviously, anything with the disease, but there have been 270, roughly, 1,000 cases worldwide, right, and 11,000 deaths. So this is roughly 0.5% of people die as a global pandemic. Now, there's been 270,000 cases. Now, China alone has somewhere around like 1.4 billion people, right? And that's where the outbreak started 4 months ago. And as of right now, for the whole world, cases, even with Italy, things going very poorly over there, with the United States, with all countries included, 270,000 cases. Now, this concerns me for two reasons. Either one, there's something that they're not telling us about this pandemic and how it can rapidly spread, or perhaps it's much worse than they're saying. Or the second thing is, I hate to say this, but maybe Gavin Newsom has ulterior motives. So once again, those two concerns are either one, this is far worse a pandemic than they're really telling us, or number two, he has ulterior motives. So if we use the global standards for the virus and we, just to use it in conversation, we say that 0.5% of people that contract the virus die, right? That would mean of the 20 million Californians that contract the virus, which, by the way, that's an astronomical number considering that this virus has been around 4 months and the total world case is only 270,000 people. So somehow in the next 8 weeks, we're going to be at 20 million just in California alone. And that's just in California, okay? So 20 million people. So if you take 0.5% of that, right, that means 100,000 Californians are going to die due to the coronavirus. Now, I do not want to say that this will not happen, right? Like I said, I'm not a virologist. There's, very possibly they know things in the government that we don't know on a civilian level. But the numbers don't really add up. The numbers don't make sense to me. Because if this virus has been around for 4 months already, and 11,000 people have died, I don't understand how California can, in 8 weeks, I don't understand how California can have 20 million people sick and, just using rough figures, roughly 100,000 people dead. That doesn't make sense to me. I don't understand that. So it would be great if somebody could clarify, because it's not making sense at all. Of all of the 40 million people living in California, 5 million are 65 or older, right? Age 65 or older. So if we take that figure, if we say, if you say half of California's population is going to become sick with the coronavirus, then let's go to the seniors, right? Let's say half of the seniors get sick. So that's 2.5 million seniors, 65 or older in California. And they have something of, like a 10% death rate, 10 to 18%, because the virus hits the older generation much harder than it hits the younger generation, right? We know that, age 60 and over are much more likely to have a difficult time, especially with underlying conditions. So let's just say 10%. If 10% of the Californians that are age 65 or older, right? So first we had 5%. Half of them are going to get sick, supposedly. That's 2.5 million Americans. So 10% of that 250,000 seniors will die. Those numbers don't make sense. There's only been 11,000 deaths so far worldwide in 4 months. How in another 2 months, right? How in another 2 months are 200,000 some odd people going to die from this virus? It makes no sense, right? And basically that's where I'm at. I don't understand what's happening. Maybe there's something else they're not telling us. I just want to make sure that I'm not the only crazy one out here looking at this virus situation and saying, hey, the numbers don't make sense, guys. Like Gavin Newsom, you're saying that 25 million Californians are going to be sick in the next 8 weeks. Like, I'm not seeing it. Please explain it to me. Please explain it to me. I just want to understand. I don't want to be this guy that, doubts and naysayer and it'll never happen and things like that, because if it does, then I'll look like an idiot. But, honestly, just by the facts right now, it doesn't look like that's going to happen. So I guess we'll find out in 8 weeks. That's the video, guys. Let me know what you think. Leave a comment down below. Maybe there's a number that I'm missing or something I'm not understanding. And just let me know what your thoughts are about what Gavin Newsom said. Those are my thoughts exactly. Talk to you later. Bye. Please explain it to me.